Big
You want
me.
taller stream?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream.
Hello, everybody.
Zay, will you shut up? Sorry.
Hello,
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, no.
Welcome to the stream.
Here.
No, let me say
It's
it
a late
better.
night. We're not going to be streaming for too
Welcome
long because I got stuff in the morning.
rest.
But hello, and also, hold on, I'm going to mute you guys real quick because y'all aren't even playing. Please hold on. Alright.
We're just going to a different party then.
That would be a better idea. Hold on, let me unmute them and I'm going to leave party and get a new party.
Well, fuck you guys,
Alright.
then you're gonna be mean like that and leave us here?
Give me 1 second. But yeah, we're just gonna be quickly what's it called? We're just gonna be playing some Halo and going through the campaign. This is gonna start my official series because I need to do that, and I'm gonna try to get a actual video series set up, and also that's
It's Markiplier.
close enough, I guess. Remember, we got to do the thing. You know what I'm talking about? The thing. Don't say what it is. Okay, the thing. Okay. Hopefully we're on the same page here. So we are starting canonical order. Let me move my camera out of the way. We're starting with Reach, and we're gonna play until probably Halo 3 in canonical order, because who actually likes Halo 4?
Fair point, fair point.
Why do I have
But,
nightfall
like,
selected?
honestly, I'm a game enjoyer. I enjoy Halo 4. I enjoy all
I mean, okay,
Halo.
don't get me wrong. I enjoyed Halo 4 and 5. They just feel like a
But the
disgrace,
story
though.
on it, just like...
Also, we're doing
why?
heroic. You got any skulls we should turn on?
No, heroic's fine.
Just heroic, no skulls.
Yeah.
All right, it is time to start Noble Actual.
Master Chief with that
I should
Big
probably
Bang
wait-
burger.
I probably should have waited for the loading screen to be over before I started being silent. Oh wait.
In a world.
In a world, in a universe.
Where you, in a universe where somebody fell for the your balls joke and took it too seriously.
Yeah, they probably did take it way too seriously. That's probably why the Covenant's here. Dramatic music.
The Covenant. It all started when they fell for the joke.
So they burned a planet. It's funny because my helmet is a skull, so it does actually look like my skull is sitting on the ground with like metal helmet on top of it. You know what I'm saying? Ow, my eyes! Ah, flashbang warning, please.
You
I
don't
need
have
a
your
flashbang
light on?
warning. I do, but it's still brighter than my light. If you watch the stream, you'll see that when you watch it next.
Alright. Remember, Stead, it's like they told us in basic training. Know where your nuts are.
What if they get
Protect
removed?
them at all costs.
What if they're removed? What do I do then?
What?
What do I do if they get removed?
Syphilis.
Okay.
Contact with Visegrad Relay was lost last night. All signals flatlined at 2600 hours. I responded with
dickhead.
Trooper Fire teams, which have since been declared MIA.
That's what he's thinking
Now you're
right now.
sending us.
The Office of Naval Intelligence believes deployment of a Spartan team is a gross misallocation of valuable resources. I disagree.
Commander,
So that's our new number 6.
Hello.
You read his file?
only the parts that weren't covered in black ink.
Anyone claim responsibility, sir?
Oni thinks it might be the local insurrection. 5 months ago, they pulled a similar job on Harmony. Hit a relay to take out our eyes and ears, then stole 2 freighters from dry dock. That cannot happen here. Reach is too damn important. I want that relay back online, Noble One.
Sir, consider it done.
Then I'll see you on the other side. Holland out.
So, like, are y'all getting paid for this?
Lieutenant.
'Cause,
Commander.
like,
Yeah, are we getting paid?
Noble Team's leader. That's Cat.
Because I'm hearing that this might be a little more than just
You're riding with me,
insurgents.
Noble
I don't know. I don't remember where I heard it from,
Not
but
gonna lie to you, Lieutenant. You're stepping into some shoes the rest of the squad would rather leave unfilled.
okay. Is there ever
Me,
lore
I'm
onto what
excited
happened to the
have
last
Noble
Noble
back
6?
up to full strength. Just one thing. I've seen your file. Even the parts the Oni sensors didn't want me to. Glad to have your skill set. But we're a team. That lone wolf stuff stays behind. Clear? Got it, sir.
I will
What's a
say-
wolf.
Did you say what's a wolf? I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually. This is one of the best stories in any like single game. You know what I'm saying? Because like all the other Halo games, you kind of have to play all of them because they all build up on each other. You know. But Reach is the one and only game that I think if you were to just play Reach, it has the best story. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know any of the other Halos that can match up to that title. Anyway, funny story time. So I'm at work, right? And
Listen up,
this guy
Local
comes
team.
in,
We're looking at a
and
down
before
relay
I
out
even
towards 50
like
clicks
talk
from
about what
Prison
he was talking about,
We're gonna
right?
introduce
Actually, let's
ourselves
finish
to
this
whoever
cutscene
took
then.
it out, and then Cat's gonna get it back online.
Get me under the hood, Commander.
Sir, why would rebels want to cut off Breach from the rest of the colonies?
You got a chance.
Obviously, the rebels just want bitches.
Commander, we just lost our signal with HQ.
Backup channels.
Searching. Nada. Can't say what the jamming is.
Backup channels.
You heard her. Dead zone confirmed. Command
I
will
only
not
know of
be
one
keeping us
backup
company
channel.
this trip.
That's where I shit from. Goku going Super Saiyan while shitting himself in the toilet.
What?
You wouldn't get it, Stead.
Also, I feel like people are gonna think I'm disgusting for using the centered thing, but that's been the one thing about Halo that's always bothered me.
Let's stay focused. Watch your sectors.
Anyway, so the funny story. Some guy walks in, right, and before I even like need to say what he said, his teeth. Oh my God, his teeth. So think of this. Think of like a Scooby-Doo episode, right? They're going to like this deep, dark, or this like real dark, evil-looking castle, right? And it has this big, long stone bridge, and it's just on this like think College of Winterhold like kind of island thing, right? And then you look down, it has like all those spiky, like the cartoony spikes. You know what I'm saying? That was this guy's teeth. He had one
What, like he
front tooth.
sharpened them?
No, he had one front tooth that went like buck teeth, and they straight up, I'm not kidding you, they straight up fused together and had 3 separate spikes inside of them, all at different lengths. I am not kidding you. So anyway, this guy gets up, and he's one of those guys, you know, he starts his order, and by the time he's done, he makes this comment of like, man, I didn't know you guys had, or no, sorry, I didn't know you guys. Man, it's kind of not discriminating or anything, but it's kind of rare to see Asians working here. When referring to a Mexican chick.
Did he say that to you?
Yes, to me, inside the restaurant.
You are not fucking Asian.
No, not me. He was referring to a girl who's new, and is a Latina.
Crazy. I was crazy once.
And what's funny is that he didn't even stop there. He tried to hire me for what he says is a plumbing job, right? So he's asking for my name and phone number, and by the way, the whole time he's saying like, "You're a good man, you're a good man." Which, okay, if he wants to compliment me, go on ahead, you know.
He's gay. He won't.
But
you know.
oh no. Okay, are they broken?
No.
There we go. I just had just had to fix a meal real quick. But anyway, they hold on. So anyway, he makes that comment, and nobody heard it at the time, but he's also sitting here the whole time dogging on the fact that everybody else is either on their phones or just standing around because there's really nothing to do. And they are doing stuff, by the way. It's just, you know, we have to wait for the kitchen to make food and stuff, you know? And he, hold on. Sorry, train of thought is not very good when it's 1 in the morning. So
Don't need to telegraph a presence.
be selective.
So what?
So he's sitting here trashing on them for not doing anything and saying I'm the only one doing anything, and even like yells at some of the people to get off their phone, including one of the managers. And they didn't do anything about it this whole time, right? They just kind of ignored him. But he sits here and tries to get me hired for a job that he says he's plumbing. Now, the thing is, he wanted my name and my phone number to give me a call, so I ended up just giving him my phone number, but I changed up one of the numbers, right, so he wouldn't actually be able to call me. And I hate it so much because he kept saying he's gonna make me famous. What kind of plumbing makes me famous?
The special internet type, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't want any of that. I don't want any of that.
I'm telling you.
So, but this guy, I sit here and I'm telling people, like, everybody is dying because he sat here and said that a Latina chick is Asian. And they even pointed out, when you say plumbing, I don't think he means, like, pipes.
It's a pipe, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, that was, oh god. I don't even want to know, you know? I don't even want to know what he was trying to do. But, like, this guy...
Here. Oh, continue.
This guy, his teeth alone scare me. Because he has never been to the dentist. He has never brushed his teeth. He has never done anything for his teeth at all since he was born.
Military casualties, 2 of the missing troopers.
So you said he had like spikes growing onto his teeth?
Well, no, he had worn them down. Like, they were cavity-ridden, like, dirty, covered in plaque, you know? Like, he had never gotten to a dentist once. He's never brushed his teeth. I almost washed his teeth. He's never brushed his teeth. He has never done anything for his teeth.
Crazy.
But this
So, you know
dude...
It'd be funny though. Have you ever seen like 2 homeless people fighting over bread with a schizophrenic person watching?
No, have you?
No, but it'd be funny.
I feel like for a minute until they realize you're watching them and get mad.
This schizophrenic guy just yells at his friends to help him.
He yells at you.
I say friends, cause you know what I mean. They're not real.
Yells at the voices. The voices.
Yells at the voices for help.
Somebody help this man. Officer. Somebody break this up. Officer that looks kind of distorted.
But like, I feel like people, you know, I watched like this YouTube video recently, and this guy made a bunch of good points. Like, when it comes to homeless people, it's like, you don't care about them unless you are a homeless person, and it's like, or like you have to take care of them, like rehome them and shit, like you work for the state. It's kind of like, what are you gonna do? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, there's nothing, like, yes, I'm upset that that happens. Like, I don't just feel good about myself knowing that there's people, like, you know, I'm grateful that I have anything, you know? But the problem is, what can I physically do?
Yeah, and you know that some of them, like, physically either can't or don't want to be helped because they have, like, mental issues. But
Well, it's not just that, it's also...
And it's, like,
It's not just that, it's like,
ones,
there's also the problem if there's people that aren't even actually homeless, so you can't really give them money, because if you give them money, then for all you know, it's some crackhead that intentionally is, like, acting homeless,
yeah,
you know?
Well, okay, that's why, here's one thing to kind of, like, you know, get that through them. Offer them food, not money.
Yeah,
if they
or a
accept
job.
Food, then they're good. They're
My stepmom told me a story
if
once.
they like keep asking you for like more money, or then they're probably a crack addict. If they don't want food, they're probably a crack addict. If they just ask you for money instead or something, don't give them money.
Yeah, my stepmom told me a story, right, of...
Unless you know that they're chill and they're not like that, don't give them money.
Yeah, my stepmom told me a story about about when she was a kid, her dad was taking her down the road, right? And some homeless guy was sitting there asking for money, right? And so he went to, like, I can't remember where it was. It was like a McDonald's or something, like, you know, some fast food restaurant, right? And he sat here, grabbed a job application, and gave it to him. Like,
Yeah.
that would...
And if he accepted that, that would be great. Did he accept it?
I don't remember. It was a while ago that this story was told to me.
Because some people,
What?
again, they either just don't have the right skills, not homeless.
But it was like a
because
food.
their
It was like a.
parents died or some shit,
It was like a golden
and
chick
it's
or
just
something.
like,
It wasn't like. It was
what
like.
are they supposed to do?
Like there are some people that the best thing you can do for them is get them a job. You
Yeah,
know?
because like that's the main issue is that they don't have a job. A lot of people look at them and say, "Get a fucking job." Like how? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, how are they gonna get a job? People won't hire them because they're homeless because they smell and like shit like that. You would have to like find a place that you can wash yourself without anyone seeing. Which I mean, if that's the case, then you have to like.
Well, nowadays you just go to like your local pilot. They have showers.
Yeah, and then there are some places that are just like homeless people don't like because apparently, in my state, in the city, they have homeless shelters, right? But they're like
Right.
shitty homeless shelters. Like they're really rough with the people there. And
By the way,
there's
we went
the
two different
good
directions, I
one,
think. Oh,
except
no, you didn't follow.
people... I am. I'm just fighting. And then apparently there's a good homeless shelter, but people just don't want to go to it because they just don't trust it. Which honestly,
Can't entirely
the main
blame them.
reason why is because in the world of the homeless, I've seen a few things. It's just like stuff. There's stuff they can easily be taken. A homeless person gave advice to another homeless person by pretty much just saying, "Hey, like, protect your shoes, or they might be taken the next day by someone else who wants them
Right.
that's also homeless." And that's true, because if they feel like they need it more than the other person, they'll take it
Right.
because they need it. Right? They don't have basic essentials because they can't afford it because they're homeless and they don't have money most of the time, and it's usually not their choice. I say
Right.
usually because there are those, like, you know, schizophrenic, you know, it's not always schizophrenic, I'm just using an example, but like mentally incapable, and by incapable I mean just like, they're just unstable, mentally unstable, yep,
Right.
that's what I was looking for. They're either like mentally unstable or they're like, you know, yeah.
Yeah.
Or they're drug addicts, and that's
And the
usually neither of them will accept jobs because one, the insane person is just, you know, always insane, and two, drug addicts prefer to just straight up have money so they can spend it on drugs
right.
rather than just get food or something. Which is why I think it's always better to just give them food.
Right. Because if they actually need it, then they need it. You know.
Yeah.
It's just the problem
So
of
you're not
usually.
giving them money to buy drugs. You're not getting.
The problem is usually
Yeah,
the only
yeah.
times I'm out is when I'm like busy, you know. That's why I don't get food for people. Because if I could, I would. Like if I had if I was just out and about, you know, and I happened to see it, and I wasn't in the middle of trying to like get to work or something, then I have like 10 minutes to get there, you know. Then yeah, sure, I would stop by somewhere, get some food for the guy, and go, you know.
Yeah. Or actually, better yet, do you like throw out anything before you end your shift at all?
We do, but we're not allowed to hand it out if that's what you're about to recommend.
Oh, it's just like take some out of the trash can and just like give it to them. 'Cause I know that some places they bag their like stuff separately. You know what I'm saying?
Ours
I've
is
seen dumpster diving videos.
ours is put into a trash compactor that ends up with 300 pounds of trash.
I see. Because I know that some people, they put food in bags and just dump it in a trash can, like clear bags. Sometimes, not all the time.
Right.
Most times just like normal trash bags. But it's just because the clear bags are bigger, they're easier to put stuff in, so that's just what they use.
Where'd you go? Oh.
Next to you. But it's just a case of like they can always dumpster dive. That's always a choice. Which
Yeah.
most of them do dumpster dive if they're hungry enough. But that's why I think the ones that push carts most of the times are the ones that are like actually kind of getting into like a stable position, and those are the ones you should like try to help, I believe.
Like the ones
Again.
that are like actually trying to fix things rather than just yeah.
Because that shows promise. But
Looking at it like it's a stock market.
yeah. Yeah, it's just like, because what else are you gonna do for them?
Right.
Like the state, like state-wise, you can't really do much because without their permission. At least here, because I remember the guy I was watching reacted to like a video of this guy basically explaining the whole situation here, at least in the city here. I live in the state, not the city.
Drop us in the courtyard.
Yeah, so there's just shelters that homeless people don't want to go to because they're probably afraid of their stuff being stolen. They probably don't trust the staff or anything.
Right.
Probably because of all the fuck-ups we had in the past with homeless shelters. And then there's the mentally unstable people, and then there's the drug addicts. And, you know, if you're doing drugs, you probably won't trust anyone because that shit tends to make you paranoid.
Well, not just paranoid.
one of
Not
the
just
effects.
it doesn't just make you paranoid. It's also the fact that like, how can you trust anybody if your entire life is about not trusting people?
Exactly.
Because like, what are you gonna trust your drug dealer?
That's
Maybe
the
for
one
another
person I do
fix, but
trust, 'cause they're
as we say,
giving
because
them
maybe
money.
for another fix, but like,
Yeah.
other than that, who are you gonna actually go up and trust for anything? You know?
And if you're mentally unstable, you'll probably try to attack somebody or something, and no one wants that. Because I've heard a bunch of stories about people getting, like, jumped by crazy people in, like, places and shit, and it's like, how does it get that bad? Like, that's a statewide issue, and that's...
Well, that's just a worldwide issue. It's just in a lot of other countries,
worldwide.
it's in a lot of other countries though, it's considered such a small
But we need to manage it
problem.
better. I feel like we've been focused on capitalism a bit much. I won't lie. I'm not saying that it's not bad, but I'm saying that the anti-communist shit. Why is that still going hard? I don't understand it.
Well, then again,
it's not communist to want to have free healthcare. It's not communist to want to have people that actually shouldn't be homeless. Like drug addicts and mentally unstable people, they'll find a way to be homeless. That's fucking fine. But actual people that don't want to be, you know how hard it is for them? Like, you know.
oh, I died.
And you probably wouldn't even care or bat an eye if it wasn't you. Let's be honest here. You'd probably make fun of them and say, hey, look at that crackhead tweaking out. But you're just like trying to fucking not have a seizure. Because like you have a fucking prescription and you don't have money for pills or some shit.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that what
It's
people
like
do pretty
a
much,
medical
nowadays
debt or
anyway?
something. Oh. It's like, imagine if you're a homeless person, you needed like a certain drug to not have like a fucking thing happen to you, but you don't have enough for the drugs, so you're just like sitting in the middle of the street having a fucking stroke, and no one helping you.
Right.
And you're like, have fucking like 200,000 in medical bills. Like, what are you gonna do?
Control room.
Now, the one thing I will say is,
Number 6. Search that body.
when you have free healthcare, there is the same problem though that like Canada has, the waiting list. It's so long that like if you have a major health problem, it takes months to get checked up. Because
That's why we do. Well, that's why we do the process of most
I'll
needed.
take that, 6. Not your domain.
You see, whoever is the most injured gets put in first.
and that would be a good idea. And
But-
then again, okay, when you're talking about the anti-communist stuff, I will say there is kind of grounds for it. I just to a certain extent.
I know.
The
that's what I'm
communist
saying. I'm
system
saying
itself-
I feel like we've went past the extent of how much we should hate it. Because yes.
Well, no. I
get
think
that
we should still hate it
that's
just as
the
much, if not more, considering the fact that it's only gotten worse as time gone, statistically at least. Given the fact that for example, Stalin, or just the Soviet Union, what was it, 21 million people killed by the actions of just that one government? Or wait, I think it was Stalin's 9 million. It was Mao's 21 million. I can't remember the exact numbers, but it was like in the tens of millions of people killed by just Mao Zedong. You know, the first guy that ran communist China. So
yeah. Well, like I said, I know it's a bad thing, but I feel like we're overdoing it a little bit.
do I think we should be
get that
putting
we
all
should
of our
fully
attention on it still?
support it,
No,
but
because I think it's getting to a
that's
point
what I'm saying.
where preventative action in our own country is the only real thing we need to do. Well, I think preventative action
Our
without
country already
violence,
isn't a
you know what I'm saying?
communist state. We don't need to do anti-communist protest for it. I
That's why you're on the team.
don't understand that, you know? And, like, I hope we don't fall into a dictatorship, but, like, a lot of people have been, like, I've been hearing about that a lot with, like, Trump and shit, how he's, like, trying to turn it into a dictatorship or something. Again, that could just be propaganda.
Well,
and
then
it just
again,
might be,
they
but at the same
they
time,
took they're
why
saying that
give
because
Elon
they took a
Musk so much
quote.
power?
Well, here's the thing. The reason why they're saying that is because there was a quote from Trump about how if he gets office again, this is before he got elected, he would be a dictator for a few days with executive orders to try and to fix things in his eyes. You know what I'm saying? That's what
Yeah,
that's
but
what
would
that's supposed to be.
fixing things to him be like?
Well, as it's what it's doing right
Like,
now.
We don't need to dismantle the fucking school for it. We need to rewrite it.
Is he not
Make
rewriting
a
it?
little better. No, he just wants to dismantle it and let every state do their own thing for teaching.
Well, technically, that is kind of the government's job, considering the fact that everything, the federal government
Yeah,
is
but
supposed to be
every
take charge
state
of everything in the
already does it
Constitution.
by its like own
Flush
thing.
'em out.
Like,
I've got you covered.
So what's the
history
point of
is
the school
a
board?
requirement, but it doesn't specify the history. Like, I feel like we should be required to learn certain history.
Oh yeah,
don't
I
know
think we should
certain
be.
things.
I think our history class should be the most important one because you know, if you don't
Yeah,
learn
but
from your mistakes.
The history they teach us is random.
Oh yeah, no,
depending
it's.
on the state is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, no,
I
it's
think
not.
we should
It's
do
not
that.
at all. Man, I didn't really learn anything in history. In fact, I learned things that didn't make sense. Like apparently in World War
That's
One,
what I'm saying.
when you're on. So apparently in World War One, it was said that when you're in a post, you should be keeping your head and upper body out of the trench when you're on watch, because that way you don't get shot in the head. Is what they were teaching us, but that doesn't make sense. Wouldn't it just be peep over the top? That way you're as the least amount of visibility possible. Also, I hate this little section. This is actually a difficult part of the game.
I've got you covered.
But like, wouldn't that be the sensible thing to do? Not completely and utterly.
Well, again, you've never fought in war, have you?
Well, no, but like
Have.
that still is what makes sense. Reduce visibility, make yourself small. That way you don't, you know, get
But you
shot.
also still need to see is the issue.
Well, yes, but if that's what I'm saying. If you have your head and only your head, that makes more sense than your entire upper body. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'm not a soldier, but like logically that just. But they're saying to keep your upper body out of the trench. That way, if you do get shot, the likelihood of it being your head is lower, because that's how people shooting
they're
works.
also train people to go for body shots unless you're a sniper. But even if
Well,
you're a
yeah, but they
sniper,
do that because.
they encourage you to
Well,
do
no,
that.
They do that because you can still get a kill shot with the body, and it's a much bigger target than the head. So therefore, you don't have to be as
Exactly.
accurate. But why would you make it to where you have a bigger target in the open compared to if
Well,
you
it
had
was
a
also
small?
what you said World War One.
Yeah, it was World War One. When for
Then
people
had-
on
I
watch
guess
during
the
trench.
guns were still
When will
deadly,
the
but they
station be
also
back online?
still weren't as strong
2
as they are
weeks,
now.
earliest. This is
What'd you say?
plasma damage. All major uplink components are fried,
2 minutes is too long.
which is why
I-
I'm
I
splicing
get
into the
that,
main
you
overland
know,
bundle to get you a direct line to Colin
They
and
still had
Holland.
guns, but they still
You're
weren't
in my
as
light,
like.
Commander.
Well, it's not about
deadly as they
power.
are
It's just
now.
about if you get hit in the head,
I know it's
regardless,
not,
you're gonna die.
But it's like
Find
they're
out what she
on
knows.
watch
Right,
anyway.
usually.
They're meant to be on watch. That's why.
Right,
they're,
so-
like.
But again, why would you have your head
What's your name?
and
they have to
upper
watch.
body?
They have
But
to,
you
like,
can watch with your head. I'm saying if you just have like
I never enjoyed.
shoulders down, concealed in the trench, and you're just looking
Anyways,
around,
like,
like,
the
Whatever.
point of this is that the history that they teach, it's different everywhere,
oh yeah.
and I feel like that should be fixed.
Shine alone.
The problem is
I
they
feel
always
like
have.
we should
Why would you?
teach about, you know, the main events
Big
in
man
history,
forgets what he is sometimes.
you know,
Oh yeah.
Just lost her
because
father.
they don't even like sometimes they don't teach you about all the main events. Sometimes they just tell you like
She's
some
not
of the
the
stuff,
only
not
one.
all of it.
Lock it down, both of you.
Even though, you know,
Get her on her
statistically
feet.
speaking, they could.
The body stays here.
Thank you, sir.
They could teach you about all the important points in history. In fact, I
Well,
think
I know
they
pretty much
did
nothing about the
one.
revolution. Did you know that? Actually, did you know Ben Franklin was a lot more influential than what we're taught?
Signa,
Like in
Yes,
completely.
'cause
He was
they
like
taught
the.
us about the revolution.
let's not touch
Oh,
this.
I didn't get
We do not
any
ground this place.
learning about anything involving the revolution.
Tell
I
us
heard
about-
the lightning.
I think one of
Experiment,
the
and that's it.
World Wars, they taught us about
What's your
the
situation?
Civil War.
Over.
Colonel, this
Civil War, they did.
Showed us
There
a
are no
movie
rebels.
So Civil War, they did.
Covenant are on
My
reach.
school
About-
did the
Come again,
most
Noble One. Did you
like
say Covenant?
pin like
You know the guy
It's
that
the
like
winter
told them that
contingency.
those people, that the British were coming?
God help
They,
us all.
Paul
I think
Revere.
they played a movie of that or something.
But here's the thing, like, okay, my history class has consisted of the Civil War. They told us about Abe Lincoln getting shot, the Fort Sumner, and that's about it. I didn't even get to learn about Gettysburg from school. I had to do that privately. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's why I think
And then
that
like
we
World
should
War
have-
One, they touched on, but they didn't talk about any of the major battles. They didn't even talk about the Battle of the Somme. Nothing.
Yeah.
It
And
was
it's
all
not
just the
for,
general,
like,
why is this
history
happening?
Either. It's for like every subject.
Well, there's
for the
some
most
subjects.
part.
Okay, for example, math. And then my algebra teacher last year, my algebra 2 teacher, brought this up. The only reason we learn how to do math isn't so we know how to do the math of the future. It's only because we need to learn how to be able to follow a pattern. But the problem is, yes, that is kind of a helpful thing to learn for real life, but like, it would be better to teach us the history that we're not supposed to repeat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or
They taught us about like the slave. I forget what it was called.
the
but,
slave
like,
trade.
I don't think it was the trade.
Well, they
But in general, they talked about how like they got like how they originally got enslaved, what happened to like Native Americans and stuff. They talked about all that.
Well, for me, they didn't even talk about that. They mentioned it. They mentioned like the Trail of Tears. They mentioned.
Our teacher at middle school played us movies and shit.
Oh no, we didn't get
Yeah.
movies. We got like units that were like 2 or 3 weeks long about each era. So like the Revolutionary era, we learned like I don't even remember anything about the Revolutionary War era from schooling at least. I remember a lot of it from independent stuff, but like the Civil War was just emancipation. Like pretty much, if you think, hey, what can I say about the Civil War? And then the first things that come to mind, that's essentially what they taught us. That's all the curriculum was covering, you know?
Yeah, which again, I feel like our school taught us more about history, but I feel like it's also because you know we're like it's New York. Like, come on.
But like it's, but like
Again, it's not. Like
I didn't even get
it's
Texas
just
history. I don't think.
history. Which is crazy. I feel like they should teach your own history.
And they don't have like optional history classes either. They have like I have to take a forensics class because we have to keep taking a science class for an elective, right? But I can't just take. Also, I'm down. So if you wouldn't mind getting out of the gunfire for a second. But it's not. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't.
Watch me hit this clip.
I shot at Kat because I thought she was a grunt. But you know what I'm saying? Like we get such a broad thing in history, and then we're forced to do other classes that really mean nothing unless you go into that exact field. You know what I'm saying? Like we have a floral design class, but we don't have an advanced history class.
And that comes back to the point of like, you know, everything is different in every state. They teach different history, different ways to do mathematics. Not the mathematics itself, but like you were probably taught in a different way than I was to do like algebra. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Honestly, I don't
do
remember any of it
differently,
because
but
I never. The problem is if you don't use it,
I don't either.
use it, you lose it. Use it or lose it genuinely is a real thing. I do not
It
remember
doesn't
any
apply.
of my algebra, or geometry, or
That's
literally
why, you know,
anything.
people that are bilingual, they speak to multiple people that can speak like English or like.
And that's why
Spanish.
French. I took French for
Or,
2
like, a
years
bunch
and
of
remembered
others.
none of it other than ça va and comment tu t'appelles. That's it.
I-
And I don't remember what half of it means.
I won't lie. I failed my Spanish just like I just stopped doing it, and they put me in Latin. So I don't remember any of the Latin, but I remember a little bit of the Spanish.
But like, here's the thing, I've learned more Spanish by working with people that don't speak English than I have French from 2 years of classing with just
I
that.
know. That's why it's just like if you move to a different country and you stay there long enough, you eventually just naturally pick it up because you just start to understand for some reason. It's kind of weird. I get it, but that's just how it is for some reason. That's like, oh, you already know how to speak English, and the second someone speaks English to
Right.
you, it'll remind you of how to like speak English. That's just that tends to be how it is. But that's only if you've like spoken it recently enough. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like,
Also, you got me saying you know what I'm saying now after I.
You know
said
what
shit
I'm saying?
Like that. Like,
you know what I'm saying?
You've been saying that, kid, and now you got me saying it. Like, goddamn.
By the way, keep in mind we're 30 minutes into the stream and we've already started rambling about things.
Oh, well, that's fine. That's perfect. Rambling's good. But like, yeah, it's just sharing opinions. Like, I feel like I've become more, I would say spiritualistic, but I wouldn't really know if that's exactly what to call it. All I know is that I've started to meditate, and I've started to be listening
Grenade.
to music to be less mad, and I've just started, you know, thinking about things. And it feels like the more and more I think about stuff, the more and more everything just seems stupid. More everything doesn't make sense because of just how stupid it is.
Pelican inbound with transport fix.
Because it's, you know, why do people fight? It just doesn't make sense. But it's also like, well, some people just want somebody to blame for stuff, and other people just want someone to fight because they're just angry and they
Right.
can't control themselves. And it's just like, what's the point? I get it. It's just a fact of how they were brought up, how they were taught. But it's like,
Right.
why?
That Marine really wanted that ghost destroyed, didn't he?
I know, but I wanted the ghost. That's what pisses me off. It's just like, you know.
Where are you
I'm
going? Are
trying
you
to
running those
get
grunts
into,
down?
like, yeah.
I see.
Like, I've been trying to get into like psychology and shit. I've told you this,
I vaguely remember this. Yeah, remember you mentioned
and
it.
it's like I can understand how the brain operates. I can understand how certain people think, but it's just like in order to understand that, I need to understand like you do genuinely need to understand how they were brought up and like what has happened to them, because it's like some people for some reason cannot put themselves in other people's shoes. They just can't think what they would do, what they
Right.
would think, how they would understand what would and wouldn't make sense for them. Because it's like, in their eyes, they had no other option but like do a certain thing. But in another person's eyes, they had like 10 other options, 10 other different things they could do. It's just like, you can be mentally smart, literally smart, street smart. There's a bunch of different definitions of smart.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily have to be one or the other. You can be spiritually smart, like you can. I got hit by it. You can be like spiritually smart, like kind of like how Buddhists are. They spend like most of their life meditating and stuff. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just kind of like, more you think about that stuff, the more you understand, hey, maybe I shouldn't do this, so that way it might be a little different. Or maybe I should take this into consideration. Because the moment you do that, you start being less stupid. You start seeing more options than just one. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like some people can't understand that, and then they need to go to therapy, and it's this whole thing that most of the time they don't even want, because they just don't understand it. They don't understand themselves, actually, probably.
Nice work, Spartans.
Because the truest danger to anyone is themselves.
This is sword control. Thought you could use some
You
mobile
think
fire.
bad, you act bad, you become bad. It's... Even if it's just acting when you first do it, it won't be at the end. It's just like, what have you been doing?
Right.
What do you need to do? Why have you done the things you've done? Was there a point to any of it? What did it get you? Where did it get you? I also believe that, you know, no one should ever commit suicide.
Oh yeah, no, I completely share that belief.
I don't believe it's for the fact that every life is valuable or precious, no. It's just the fact that you've been given life.
It's selfish.
And
in a worldly view, it's selfish because you sat here and not only killed yourself because you like couldn't take it anymore, but you have to think about the amount of people that are in your life, in most cases, that actually cared about you and now don't have you because you just were selfish and took it away. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. But it's also not even that. It's just like, you were given life, right? I understand that you don't have to live it, but like at the end of the day, you'll die when you're old.
Right.
You'll die anyways. Why end it early? Why not at least see what is still left for you? You
right.
don't know what's gonna happen.
And I'm assuming you're not religious? Based off
no.
of... Okay, that's what I thought.
I mean, yes and no. I kinda am, but...
Are you the kind of religious where you like, you know there's something, but you don't know what it is?
No, I believe in Christianity.
Oh, okay,
I'm
good.
Not,
actually, that's actually a conversation we can have after this, because I have
I'm not speaking for...
Well, yeah, you're speaking in
don't
the...
Don't ask me any questions. I've never been to a church. I've never read the Bible. I've been baptized at birth, but...
Catholic, or...?
I feel like I should believe in something. I don't know.
Oh, okay, so you don't... okay. So you're one of that kind of... I can't exactly explain what kind of person, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. And it's just like... I'm not exactly, like... I wasn't too spiritual at first.
Right.
I believe in ghosts and stuff. Sometimes, it depends.
I feel like there's I feel like there's a kind of fine line between... It's plausible
like,
and it's
one of those things where it's like, I'll believe in it more when I see it, but I have no proof of it yet. So I'll...
Okay, I kind of see that. So... time for me to go on a bit of a rant about one singular topic, and that is... So you know, okay. You know how people always will, like, say... Okay, I'm trying to think how to explain this. So you know how when a lot of people think that, like, science and religion are polar opposite?
Oh, I understand that they can be the same.
Yeah.
I can entirely...
Well, I feel like I can explain the majority of things.
I feel like that's fine.
I actually feel like I can explain a lot more than... I say explain. I can theoretically explain a lot, if that makes sense. So, for example, the question of what is God? So, I don't remember where I saw it. Right, I was having a conversation with a dude about pretty much the exact same thing. And he talked about how there's a theory in mathematics about how there is up to 13 like dimensions. For example, like the first dimension being a 1D plane, 2D, 3D, you know what I'm saying? And that there could be mathematically up to like 13, right? So if that is to be believed, then that means that for all we know, or okay, and let me just kind of use the explanation he gave. Basically, if you're looking at a 2D stick man who's alive now, right, and you draw a boxer at him, for example, he cannot look out and see you because he lives in a two-dimensional world, right?
Yeah, I've actually seen that example before in a
You
YouTube
have?
video.
Okay, I think that's exactly. I think you've seen the same video then. But it's that example. So what if God is like a 13th dimensional being, and he alters physics? The Big
And
Bang
we
Theory
won't be
could
able to
still be
understand it
valid.
until we die or something.
Yeah, well, because in the
Then we
Bible,
might enter a different.
because in the Bible, it's even said that all will be revealed in the end. So, either when the rapture
a game.
happens, what?
Continue.
Were you bringing up some Matrix stuff? Anyway, you can go ahead and keep going. I don't know why you stopped.
Oh, because it gets loud and I like to hear quiet when.
I see. Oh. But
Let's continue.
so basically, if God is a 13th dimensional being, then who's to say he can't alter physics and create what we know as physics? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many things we can't explain, so if we just turn to an option that still can't exactly be disproven, you know what I'm saying, then what's wrong? Now, the Big Bang Theory, fun fact, was actually brought up by a Catholic, by the way. Back whenever it was first invented, a Catholic priest, I think it was the one to bring up the theory to begin with. But, basically, the Big Bang, because the Bible mentions that God experiences time in a different way than we do, and that seconds could be years and years could be minutes, right?
Oh.
Well,
Yeah.
same semantics, same difference, you know what I'm saying? But does that not mean that theoretically those billions of years that the world or that the universe was being formed couldn't have just been the 7 days in God's time? And that evolution is just the methods in which he created humanity? You know what I'm saying?
I would like to, yeah.
'Cause we've observed evolution.
A bit on what I was saying. I know you're talking.
Oh, yeah,
about
no, go ahead,
stuff,
go ahead.
But I'd like to, with the like spiritual stuff and like mental stuff, I would say never assume anything, because when
Right.
you think about it, right, everything is always changing. To assume something of an ever-changing thing or person or
Right.
place is just inherently wrong,
Right.
because something will always be changing. Sometimes you can force people to not change, and what I mean by that is like, if you put someone down enough, and if they try to change, just put
Ow.
them down so they stay the same,
Right.
then they're not changing, because you're not letting it happen. It's like, you know where that phrase came from, if you love it, let it go. That's essentially what that means. If you know that you are nothing but bad for whatever you're trying to do, whatever you're trying to fix, then maybe
Right.
you should just stop and let someone else do it.
Right.
And it's at that point, it's like, can you do that though? Are you even okay with that? But the thing is that
Man,
it
these
doesn't
hunters
matter
are.
if you're okay with it or not, because it's something that you probably need to do.
Right.
And in a way, it also tests you as well, challenges you to change. Can you change? Can you let go?
Bro,
That's-
why are these hunters so much faster? Sorry, I'm trying to figure out what's going on with these hunters.
So, that's fine. But it's like, everything is always changing. One day is never the same as the other. So why should you be any different?
Right.
Why should anyone be different? No one's the same. No one's, you know. And it's like, some people, I feel like, don't have the common sense to acknowledge that. Just let things be.
Right.
Just let things happen. Some people are just rude for no reason. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's just like, why not change? Is it the fact that they just can't? Is it something else? You know what I'm saying? It
Right.
gets me curious. Makes me curious. Because I feel like I change sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel it, and then like I just go back for some reason, and it's just like I don't know what to think about that. It's like, does that happen to other people? You know? Am I the only one that thinks logically like this? Are other people this inherently smart about certain subjects? Like, I get that I'm not smart when it comes to math or when it comes to other stuff.
Right.
But I feel like when it comes to the psychology of people, I can be quite decent when it comes to that. And it kind of feels like the only subject I would be able to. Because assisting people through some people is just difficult, but for me, assisting people doesn't feel that difficult, like dealing with them emotionally wise. I did have, well, I still do have a friend, you know, an online friend, if you specify. I've tried to help him a few times with some things, but he's called me a robot.
A robot?
Because of how I've acted before, yeah. Because of how he says sometimes I just show no emotion, but he's like, he's even admitted himself he's a little too emotional. But it's like,
right,
you know, how else am I supposed to go about it? Because it's like,
right, because there isn't really,
because it is a serious matter, you know. Because you don't want anything to happen to them. You want them to not try to commit suicide or something. That's not what I'm talking about, though. He would never do that. But it's like, you know, you want them in kind of a stable place, so you gotta get them to take it seriously to see, try to make them see what would happen if they don't.
Right.
Not through any rude way, but simply through putting, you know, the logic they inherently don't have in their heads. Because some people are just not smart when it comes to something like suicide or like and messing things up with someone or some shit, which I don't quite understand. Like, why are there pathological liars? People who just lie for no reason and they don't even know why. It has to be something with how they were raised, but if that's the case, it would be a hard thing for them to get over. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like there are so many people that have been messed up that don't know what to do with themselves. That don't know how to think about certain things. So it's just like, what else can you do?
Right.
To potentially try to help them. Because if you don't help them, does that make you a bad person? Or does it make you a good person?
I see what you're saying.
Will it help them or harm them? Will you do more good than bad? Or more bad than good? And life is always a choice, but does that mean you should choose it?
Right.
Probably. Because at the end of the day, there's no point in taking it away. It would just be waste. Not for you, but for everyone else. Well, and I guess you as well, because it's like, sure, you may have been unconsensually touched, or you may have been witnessed your family die in front of you, but are you really going to take your own life away for that?
Right.
Are you really just going to waste what potential you have for doing something?
Beautiful,
Anything?
ain't it? Someone should take a picture. Nice work, by the way.
If you want to be a street rat, be a street rat, but be a good one. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Dr. Halsey wants a debrief and command saying we're all heard.
If you want to, like, fucking...
Sounded like you said Halsey.
I did.
Be a soldier
that, on our
and be a
way.
good soldier. If you feel
Don't
like
need
you ain't
Commander
got
tell
nothing
me.
left,
Been all
then
hers
do
half my life.
something. Because there's no point in not doing anything.
I requested your assistance, Commander, and do not need a report on
I
events
also,
occurring
I
at your
frown
doorstep.
upon,
What I do require is a detailed account of
bodily
your previous
augmentation.
engagement. George, it's been too long.
And what I
Mom,
mean by that is
What
like
have you done with my
plastic
armor?
surgery and shit.
just some
Tattoos,
additions I've made.
that's like an exception thing depending on.
Well,
It's
it depends on if it.
meaningful or
Yeah, I was
not.
gonna say if it's like a meaningful. It has something to do with it, you know.
Perhaps you could shed some light on his death.
Then I feel like that's
He
a
was
different story
civilian
because
male in his
even my parents
mid-60s,
have them, you know.
who
But
died from
like,
Covenant energy sword through his abdomen.
if
Yeah,
you're
my
just gonna get it
parents
to
have
get
them
it,
too.
They engaged us as well. It was just after we found your scientist's daughter, Mom. She was hiding in the
Irrelevant. The elites. Tell me more about them.
3 Zealot class. One got by us. The leader, from the looks of him.
Zealots. You're certain?
Their armor configuration
It's
matched.
just like
Shield strength
surprising
too.
sometimes.
I gave the order not to pursue. Our primary
me.
objective was to get the
It
station's
shouldn't
relay
be
back
that
online.
surprising
Your
because
primary objective?
a lot of
Commander, are you a
people,
puppet
for
or
some
a
reason,
Spartan?
just don't
Man.
have
There are those
the
at
common
ONU, myself
sense
included,
to
who believe
see
the
the
Covenant
way they should
dispatch
see.
elite advance teams to hunt down artifacts of value to their religion.
To just
Survivor accounts suggest
accept.
such teams are small, nimble, and almost always zealot class. No doubt,
Like,
they
life
came
is
to the
life.
station for the abundance
Nothing
of Oni excavation data
anyone
stored
does
there,
that isn't you
and you let them get
isn't
away.
your business.
Data retrieval was not a command
Unless
directive. Even had
you
we
know
known,
someone
we had other
that
more urgent matters
wants
to
to
attend
try to help
Reporting the
that
planets.
accepts your help. In that case, do something.
Professor Sorvan's
If that's not the
final
case,
entry
don't
in
do
his field
anything.
notes
Simply
made reference
watch.
to a latchkey discovery.
Watch
Latchkey.
and watch
Not a word he would use
and
lightly.
watch.
So let's hope that the data module
I
the
have done
Lieutenant Commander
a lot of
stole
watching, a
contains
lot of
it.
listening. That might
Jack.
sound weird,
Before you
but
ask,
it's
I was
not.
alerted
What
at
I
the
mean
moment
is
you
more like
attempted to access its
observation.
contents, as I am with
I
any unauthorized
always heard
attack.
people. I have good
That
hearing.
data is
I've
classified
always
Tier 1.
seen people
I
doing
could
things,
send you to the brig for interfering with my work.
Maybe you'd
and I
like to
feel
join
like
her.
I'm sorry.
that partially
We're
helped me
currently
understand
under
people.
emergency planetary directive
It's
for
like,
air
you know,
contingency. I'm sure you're familiar with the
more you
punishment for
actually
civilian interference with the Spartan
tend to your
deployment.
Are you
surroundings,
threatening
the more
me,
you begin
Commander?
to
Just
understand
making a reading suggestion.
more
man.
things. It might
Let's move,
sound
noble
weird,
team.
but it will make sense if you do it long enough. You'll understand.
That will be all, George.
all right, real quick, let's pause to finish the conversation because it is honestly getting difficult to pay attention to both. No offense.
That's fine.
There we go. Is it paused for you? No. Oh, we
No.
tried. We'll just, I guess, stand still and hang out. Starting here then.
It's like, you know,
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
observing is just different from watching, I want to specify.
Right.
It's seeing how people act, how they react to certain things, how they react to you, how you react to them. Because everything is reaction. Observing is a reaction, technically. Because
Yeah.
it's an action, and it can be a reaction to things.
Recon Team Bravo.
Because
reporting
everything
in.
you do
Fluid
is
6
an
in
action.
position.
Thinking, that's
Starting to get
doing
crowded up here,
something.
Cat.
Then we're closing in.
But is it a good
Report
thing
to any Covenant
or a bad
structures or
thing?
devices. Direct action
That's
may be necessary.
Copy that.
unknowable, because you can't think for other people.
When Cat runs an op, direct
But,
action is always
you know.
necessary. Here, you may need these. High velocity, armor piercing. They'll take the hat off an elite at 2,000 yards.
All you gotta do
And they ain't
is
cheap.
just like calm yourself down, and if you need
I'll be in
help
touch.
to do that, just like try to focus on one thing, and then just try to pay attention to your surroundings. See what other people are doing. See what you're doing. Why are you doing the thing you're doing? Because you
Right.
need food, because you need money, because you need to make something for someone for money. You work at fast food, right?
Yeah.
How many times has the person you worked with taking orders.
I
probably
can't
wouldn't
count
know.
I can't. Yeah, I can't even count how many times I have.
Exactly. But you don't need to count. The thing is, you're doing it. You're doing it for a person. Whether it's for the money or not, you still did something.
Right.
So, why get mad over it? You shouldn't get mad over doing something. I get people can be unbearable sometimes, but if that's the case, then maybe you shouldn't speak unless you need to.
Right, and I've been guilty of that for a while. That's kind of one of the reasons why I'm quitting, because I have a lot of stuff that I got to deal with, but that specifically has been, oh my god, hold on. Where did they hit me from?
Oh, let's just go back. Let's go back so we can.
But yeah, but I know what you're talking about. But for me, it's just the fact that, yeah, it's people being unbearable, but it's also the fact that, like, they're knowingly unbearable, I feel like, because, well, sometimes, most of the time it's unknowingly, because it'll be something like, for example, the way we do our kids' meals, right? If you want extra fries with your kids' meal, you have to remove the apples from the meal, right? And then put the extra fries in as an item, right? The problem is, it's the most inconvenient possible way to do that is to ask for your drink and your sauce and then ask for the extra fries, because then you have to go and press this extremely narrow button, you know what I'm saying? Nobody could possibly know that just showing up, you know? But it somehow is still infuriating, if you know what I'm saying. And then there's all,
Yeah,
and it's like
but
that coupled with the trying to do one task for 30 minutes, but you can't because you never have time, you know what I'm saying? And every time you ask somebody to help you do it, they just won't.
Yeah,
Stuff
but
like
also
that.
comes to a point of why be mad?
And that's something I
it's-
can't explain. I just got mad from it, and that's why I, like,
Yeah, think about
I'm
it
doing my
this
best
way.
right now, but like,
It's you're doing what you can, right?
yeah.
So then just, you know, tank with it. Try to calm yourself. Focus on something. Hear like a hum, like, and just like focus on it or something. You would be surprised if you have an erratic brain. If you are constantly thinking of things, sometimes the easiest way is to just think on one thing.
I will
Pay
say this,
attention to
that is
only
something
one
kind of
thing.
hard for me to do. I am a very scatter-minded person, and like, okay, think of one thing, okay, I start trying to think of it, and then it
Well,
starts tailing off.
I don't necessarily
tailing
mean
off,
think of
tailing
one
off.
thing. I essentially mean pay attention to one noise and then all the noises and then one noise again. It's like
Right.
there's a lot of ways to do it. I've been meditating for a while in my own way, but like, you know,
Real
it's
quick,
not
silent,
any
you're on stream.
different.
Just letting you know.
Yeah, it's not like, yeah, because it's like the more you focus on something sometimes, or multiple things, the more you can calm yourself by doing that. If in your case it helps you to think of nothing at all, you can do that too.
It's not that it helps, it's that it's impossible for me, if I'm being honest. I have the practical inability for more than 10 seconds to think of nothing, if that makes sense.
Okay.
That is
Then,
like
yeah,
a
then
near
just
impossibility for my brain to
try
function while
to
not
focus
thinking.
on multiple things. Or better yet, try to think of even more things. Sometimes it's the opposite, depending on the person. Or just try to think of, like, I don't know how to, like, say it.
Right.
Give me a minute.
And I will say one thing, and okay, the way what I'm about to say is not a negative necessarily. It's also kind of the way I was raised, if that makes sense, because I was raised with a lot of common sense, you know. So it's like, for example, people will be I'll be taking their order through the drive-thru, right? And they'll sit here, and they'll be ordering, but they're mumbling through the mic, right? So I have to ask, I'm sorry, one more time? I'm sorry, one more time? I'm sorry, can you say that one more time? And they just, it's
yeah,
infuriating because they
on the
never...
other end of that, right?
I honestly haven't. I have once or twice, but never, like... So,
Because sometimes
but I'm saying...
we don't know how it sounds, we don't know how close...
But it's not, no, but it's not the fact that they're being quiet to begin with. It's the fact that even though I keep saying, I can't understand you, they continue to, instead of trying to fix that, they get angry at you for not understanding them. And that is infuriating to me. Because I'll be sitting here saying, I'm sorry, one more time, I'm sorry, one more time, I'm sorry, one more time. Oh my god, are you deaf? Can you not hear me? Obviously not. You know what I'm saying? I obviously cannot hear you. But they just keep on being...
Makes sense because
and it's just like, dude, I'm sitting here asking you to repeat yourself. You should understand. Hey, that means that they can't understand me. Let me speak up, or at least try something. You know what I'm saying? But they don't even try to make themselves more clear, anything. And it's just like, maybe it's because I'm raised with common sense, but you should not be this stupid.
You know, I was raised common sense too, but it's also like, you know, if someone's like that, then you just kind of gotta, I wouldn't say deal with it, it's still different, but it's like, don't get angry, but try to like, just don't get angry at them, because like, acknowledge the fact that they don't have as much common sense as you. Don't say anything about it, obviously.
Well, I can't. Like, I've learned that the hard way, or the easy way, I guess, because you can't backtalk a customer in any way. That's why I gave That's why I gave that guy basically my phone number with one number changed, because I can't just not give him my phone number, and I can't do like 555 because that's not real.
You
and
don't have
knows
to give him your phone number.
I didn't. That's the thing.
I know you didn't, but I mean, like, literally, you are not required to do that, because that
but it's like
considered harassment towards staff.
Well, no, don't get me, but here's the thing, that's not how my managers see it. My managers are, the customer's always right no matter what. There is no line where the customer is no longer correct. So...
At that point, I'd say, why are you working there?
Why do you think I put my 2 weeks in a couple weeks ago?
I know, you said that you were quitting, but...
Like...
Yeah. Do you have to work tomorrow?
No, I have church in the morning, though.
Okay.
And then I don't know what my dad has planned, so...
If you do, because that's Mother's Day.
Oh, it is Mother's Day. Crap. Okay, so I do have to go... So... I don't know when I'll be on.
Alright.
Because if it's Mother's Day, I gotta go at least... Like, say hi to her and everything.
There's a lot of people out there without common sense. They're just really stupid. I think I definitely am not as volatile as I used to be.
Well,
I tried to work on that, and I did.
For me, it's like, I knew people were stupid, you know? I knew I should expect a little bit. It's just, the amount of stupidity is not what I understood, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but again, you'd be, like, really surprised.
Exactly, I'm like, it's angering just how wrong I was about stupidity.
Because here's the thing, with the advancements that we have made, people can be more and more stupid without consequence, so that's what happens. And that within itself is stupid, but since no one cares about it, it just kind of happens. And what's even stupider is that it feels like these people with no common sense are starting to somehow work their way up into political ranks and shit. And I feel like that's always just kind of happened on its own naturally. But it's like, they're everywhere.
Well, it also could be stuff like, you have this business manager who has never needed the common sense because he has a secretary to do that for him. You know what I'm saying? That, I think, is how that started, with the higher up.
It's like, since kindergarten we're being taught about common sense by like one of our PE teachers. And I was like, you know what? That makes a lot of sense.
Well, it's just my family's raised me with common sense, you know? It's common sense. This is how the world works. This is how you solve some things, you know?
It's just like, there are easier ways to do things than what you're thinking. I will sometimes just, without thinking, do things the stupid way sometimes.
The best way to describe right now about common sense is that common sense is no longer common.
Exactly.
That's ironically,
it's like
yes.
rare sense now. And it's like... It's weird how that even starts to happen.
But yeah, it's just infuriating me, because it's like, how are you so stupid that, like, for example, today.
But I still believe I can work customer service and stuff, because with the way
I know I can do customer service. It's the problem of when it's as fast paced as it is at work. You know what I'm saying? Because if I just have to deal with one customer every couple minutes or so, okay. But it's the fact that it's one stupid person for like a minute, and then I have a 2-second break before I have another even stupider person. You know what I'm saying? That is what drives me crazy. And it's just I can't get a break from it during like a dinner rush or something, you know? So it's like, and it's funny because ironically a piece of me was like, huh, what if my first video was like a PSA, don't be this stupid through a drive-thru? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. At the same time, it's like, what more do you expect? What do you want to expect? What do you think would really happen? How do you think you could de-escalate it? How do you think it would escalate in general? It's like a big piece of pondering, a big piece to just starting to learn things on your own is to just ponder things like that. You start thinking about things. Like, yeah, sure, you can't control how angry they are or how stupid they are, because you just can't.
Right.
No matter how hard you tried.
And it's just, and the thing is, it's also because
incapable of change, you know?
Right, and it also could be, like, sometimes I'll think too much about it. Like, for example, this one guy today, it's like 11:30, he comes in his truck, right, and he's in the drive-thru, and he starts complaining to me like, hey, so I just got my coffee, and he's swearing the whole time, by the way. He is, like, left and right, you know? He's sitting here saying, oh, yeah, my chocolate shake, it tasted like coffee. Now, I don't know if you've ever, you know what restaurant I work at, right? I'm not going to say it, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, he is sitting here like, so, have you ever had one of our chocolate shakes?
Another dropship coming in.
I am not.
You haven't? Okay. Ours are extremely chocolatey, right? Like, the amount of chocolate syrup they put in there makes your tongue burn when you drink it. I am not kidding you. That is how much sugar is put into them.
Like that?
We don't. It's just it's a machine that does it.
Okay. I also know that those machines need to be repaired by a special maintenance guy because of the deal that McDonald's has. Or not McDonald's, sorry, of the deal that your restaurant has.
Well, I mean, you already kind of said it. It's a little late now. Yeah, I'm a Mickey D's employee. Oh well, boo-hoo. I just didn't want to bring up the corporate name in case slander, whatever.
You said it earlier in the video.
Oh, did you?
No, you did.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
When you were talking about the story.
I guess.
Anyway,
I don't remember saying it, but like, our chocolate shakes are like, you know, they're extremely sugary and stuff, but he comes through and he's like sitting here saying that it tasted like crap and that it was like, tasted like coffee almost. So he comes back through the drive-thru and I'm like, okay, maybe someone actually messed up and gave him like a melted frappe or something, you know? And it was a chocolate shake. And he had been sitting in the line for like 20 minutes for this thing, by the way, just to get another one. And it wasn't even, it was the same one, because it's just the way our chocolate shakes are, right? And I even tasted one afterwards just to make sure it wasn't like something wrong with the machine, you know? And sure enough, nothing wrong with it. It tasted the exact same, right? And he sat here, came back through the line a second time, right? And then when the manager was talking to him about getting a refund and saying he was gonna have to come up to the second window to get the refund, he was like, nah, I'm not waiting another 20 minutes for that. Why did you come back the first time? Like, what in your mind made you think, I'm gonna sit through, like, I honestly would have left.
To see if it was just...
Well, no. I honestly would have left. It took him almost 45 minutes, by the way, to get back through this line. Because after 11, we do not care about the time it takes because we do not have the people to, you know what I'm saying? We're so understaffed at night that we can't, like, keep up exact hours, you know what I'm saying? So, like, it'll take maybe 5 minutes to get up to the front. Maybe it'll take 20. Like, and you know McDonald's, it has a terrible turnover rate. Who do you know that's worked there for longer than a year? Well, I do, actually. We have one guy that's worked 13, but whatever. Don't ask him. He's... I don't know what's wrong with him. No, he's not illegal. He's a white guy, but he isn't exactly all that good in the head.
I mean, you can be white and illegal.
I mean, yeah, you could. Poland?
Poland?
Why Poland?
Hey, my people. European Texas.
Poland is just funnier. Anyway.
But anyway, so it's just like the turnover rates there is crazy as is. You know, we're understaffed because it's usually high schoolers that work there. But we sat there and it took him like 25, 30, maybe even 40 minutes, right, to get up to the window the first time, right? I don't know what kind of person for that one shake, by the way, is willing to wait that long, not even for the refund, just to get another one, and then come back again and complain. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's just great.
But it's like, I'm sitting here thinking, what is wrong with this guy? What in his mind was like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and back to my thing about, like, what I was talking about.
Yeah.
You know, spiritualness and shit. Some people try it and they don't understand it at first because it's like, in order to do it right, you need to see differently, if that makes sense to you.
Right.
I don't know if it does or not, because sometimes it's hard to explain things, because it's just like, you know, it's just kind of something you do, and after a while you start to, in a weird way, feel like you'll feel something.
Right.
Something different. And again, some people that just don't understand it or say that it's like fake or trash. I mean, sure, yeah, some of it's fake. Like, I don't believe in crystals and shit. That's
yeah, no, that's
stupid.
Yeah,
like,
I don't think that has any logic in it at all.
Meditation and stuff like is a real thing. It is meant to actually help people. And there are different ways you can do it. There are different ways you can do everything, because it's all meditation and spiritualness. It's what you believe in, and it's trying to just change your worldview constantly on things to understand certain things better, certain people better, certain cultures better, whatever. It's not bad to learn about everything, because everything is not inherently bad.
Right.
It's people that make things bad, it's people that make things things. It's people that do things. It's always people. That's why we're also a bad race, because we do bad things. People have the capability of lying and being bad. A dog could never lie to you. A cat could never lie to you. Could they trick you? Yeah, sure, but even then, it's not tricking for them. For them, it's surviving.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. It's just like, some people that don't understand spiritualness are usually kind of close-minded a little bit. It's like Christianity. It's, if you believe in Christianity, yeah, you're not allowed to believe in any other religion, but that you should also respect other people's religion.
And I do. I have met, like,
I would never frown on a different religion. I would never do any of that.
Do I wish that,
sure,
like...
I might do, like, a little insult for a joke here and there, but it's, I don't seriously mean it.
Well, it's not just that, it's like...
making fun of it.
Like, yeah, I really hope that Muslims, Jews, they'll, like, you know, become Christian, you know? I can't force them to, you know, but I hope they will, you know. And like, I can respect some of their beliefs, you know. Like, not every Muslim, I don't think, is a bad person, you know. That's just their belief, you know.
Yeah, no one is inherently bad. It is their belief system, their religions, their leaders, their power. Russians, Germans, they weren't technically bad. They were just doing what they were told. And
especially when you.
in the power
Okay,
of
that's
command.
starting to lead to like.
Well, no. If you think about it from a German citizen's perspective during the Second World War, there was really nothing wrong with Hitler. From a German citizen's perspective, you know, it was, oh hey, we have this guy who just brought us out of the Depression and the post-World War I economy,
That's what I'm saying.
and is bringing Germany back to its former glory. Is it the equivalent of what they saw?
View him as bad. Everyone is viewed differently. Everybody views things differently. So, how would you view something? How would you look at it? How would you choose to look at it? What's the point of looking at it the way you're looking at it? What are you trying to do? The thing is, like, you don't know what you're doing until you do it. So what are you trying to do to begin with? That's the question. Because if you're going to do something, you need to know how to do it. Because that's the only logical thing to do.
By the way, get cover him
You can't
down.
just-
Never mind.
You can't
Never mind.
just do something and, you know...
Right.
Because doing nothing is still technically doing something.
Technically speaking, yes.
Yeah, but it's like...
It's like how silence is a sound.
Yeah.
Or how like nothing.
Silence
nothing
is a
would be.
sound because it's nothing. Zero is the number for nothingness, because nothing exists. Zero is
Represents nothing.
So zero, yes, represents nothing. Nothing itself has no form, because it's just air. It's not even molecules. But if that's the case, then why do things exist?
Because
what I'm
it's
saying?
on the same side. It's the different side of the same coin. Because for nothing to exist, you would need the opposite. You need for something to exist to compare it to.
If you want something to be something, then you need nothing, because you can't have something without nothing. You can't have nothing without something.
Right.
If you went back in time and killed your grandfather, you wouldn't die, because you would still be alive, because technically what you did was...
Create a paradox.
You... Yes, the grandfather paradox. Glad you know it.
You go kill your grandfather, how are you born?
Argue it back and forth, but the truth is that...
It's a paradox, there is no answer. You're just in that time.
It's... okay.
But I think you learn about a new paradox. It's called the Rich Visitor Paradox.
The rich what paradox?
The Rich Visitor Paradox.
So, pretty much, right, you go back in time, and let's say you kill your grandfather.
Well,
he wouldn't exist anymore, right? But you still might exist somehow, because the thing is that if a child is born every, like, minute or something, I know that's not the actual statistic, but I forget what it is, but let's just say that. There's a still high likelihood
like 3 every minute.
You would be birthed, but it's like, you would be different, but you would still be you, you know?
Right. Well,
just be like
the whole point of the
different
grandfather
parts of time.
paradox isn't the fact that it's you, but in like a different sense. It's because of the fact that if you're like biologically, your grandfather can't physically have been the one. Like if he doesn't exist, you physically could not exist. You know what I'm saying? Biologically, because
But
that
if
way your
you
parents
killed
never
your
exist.
grandmother, then you still technically could exist, because he would still be alive. Which is why it has to be the father.
Yeah.
The only way the
and-
grandfather
anyway.
paradox is not a paradox is if you kill the grandfather after he creates, or after he procreates.
Yeah.
Or you
Which
become.
you could do. That'd be
Or
the
you
only
pull
way to
a.
not make it a paradox.
Or you pull like an average time travel movie and become your grandpa.
Oh God.
You don't know what I'm talking about?
Rick and Morty, not Rick and Morty.
Technically,
Back to the Future.
Yeah, Back to the Future. Creating the events that caused you.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be like that one skit of, okay, I forget that's, I forget what it's called, but, okay, Family Guy does the whole thing where Stewie actually
Yeah.
so the universe created it. It's like that thing. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. That would be.
But, anyway, what I was saying about that's the spiritual stuff. It's like, you can only really do it if you yourself believe in it. And you can also only do it if you believe in constant change, because it's like, you know, everything is, nothing stays. Things turn to ash, to dust, they get eaten by bacteria, they get absorbed by the earth. Even plastic has a time limit. It's just highly extended. So,
well, if you know about modern scientific theories for how the universe will end, that actually proves a little too true. I can't remember what it's called. The one about where everything fades because every molecule eventually breaks into individual atoms, which will then spread apart until they're eventually individual quarks and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it gets to a point where nothing is connected to anything, and it's just an infinitely empty universe because everything just is expanding constantly. You know want to talk about that theory?
Yeah.
But would that not in itself make another universe? Because if you go into an atom enough, it's just more atom. How do you know this isn't the first universe to be made? How do you know this isn't the first Big Bang? There wouldn't be any evidence to prove
And that's what that
was.
And that's what that Big Bang isn't. That one of the versions of the Big Bang Theory is they don't know exactly what happened
we
to
don't
cause.
know if this is the first time or not.
Well, as a Christian, I believe it is the first time, and that the Big Bang was just merely a method to the universe's creation. You know what I'm saying?
We could, but you still get my point.
Yeah, I still get your point. Scientifically, at least, we don't.
Yeah. And scientifically, we wouldn't be able to know either.
Well, because if nothing existed before everything existed, you know, how do you prove that something existed? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
By the way, this is the end of the level, right? Because I'm probably gonna get off of Halo
or
for.
if something did exist before, and the Big Bang destroyed everything to a perfect T, and everything got recreated from it, how would we know it's not, you know, how do we know there wouldn't be something before? And you know, I'm thinking maybe it has something to do with a black hole if that's the case.
Because isn't there also a theory that black holes could contain a singularity, which is then the equivalent of another Big Bang? Isn't that a theory that exists?
Well, I think, well, I just came up with that theory. I didn't make it.
Well, no, there is I think there is a portion of the scientific community that believes that the singularities inside of a black hole could potentially contain an entire universe, and we wouldn't know.
There is a giant black hole, so what if when the black hole, and you know, the center of our universe, once it's done eating everything, implodes and makes another Big Bang? Because when you think about it, everything has a cycle, right? The cycle of life. Well, what comes after everything dies? What's the next cycle? More life, right?
That maybe.
To an extent, yeah. So what if the black hole then implodes on itself, creates a Big Bang, and explodes out more everything? Another universe just spit out.
Right.
Right, but then if we're going by that logic, then how do we know our Big Bang wasn't also a black hole?
That's what I'm saying. We wouldn't know. Because if it ate everything and imploded and made a Big Bang, we wouldn't know.
Well,
we wouldn't know if we're the first, we wouldn't know if we're the
now,
last.
I will say I don't exactly believe that, because...
Here's a good question. Can God make a boulder that himself could not move?
No.
Because he made it.
He made it, therefore he has to be able to... Well... He could make a boulder that nothing could move, but he has to have the... Exactly. and you weren't there whenever I explained it. I believe that science is God in a way. We use it as a way of explaining God, because if you think about it, in the Bible it mentions that time itself is experienced by God in a different way than we experience it, right? So basically, for all we know, the 7 days were actually the billions of years that the Big Bang had been creating the universe, and in that time, God was sitting here meticulously creating a perfect universe with the order we have in a way that keeps us, like, you know what I'm saying? Because you got to think, what are the odds that anything exists right now?
And if he does experience time differently, then he could technically help everyone. Which is,
well, yes, but that would defeat the purpose.
God, listen to him.
Well, that would defeat the purpose of free will, you see. Because if free will
it's
isn't
not free will, consider it like, you know, you trust in him, he trusts in you.
Well, okay, yeah, so you're basically saying the whole, you know, believe in God, you go to heaven, that thing? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes and no.
Or are you talking about, like, on a worldly...
I'm talking about, like, I guess it would be considered one of the commandments, I think. It's like, you believe in God, and he shows you a path you can take. And that
is always, yeah, that is always something that, will be an option, is there's always a path, no matter where you, like, what position you're in. It's just a matter of...
But which path do
will
you take? Because logically thinking, with a spiritual mind, there's a lot of paths. There's so many. It's more or less the question of which one are you drawn to the most? Which one is he telling you, do you feel would be the best for you?
Nova 3 and Nova 6 live visual of a Covenant
You can't
strike
speak
force.
to him, you wouldn't know, so you just kind of have to feel it, you know what I'm saying? You have to guess.
All recon teams disengage and fall back. Sun will be up in a few hours.
But the way I see it,
It's going to be a very busy day.
that path is always there for you. It's just a matter of, based off of, well, yeah, if you see it, and if you're willing to follow it. By the way, I'm going to stop playing Halo for the night. I'm going to go ahead and go to Big Me and then probably end stream, but I'm going to stay on. But, yeah, we had some talks today. We played some Halo. Y'all have a nice night.